Here I am again, recording another podcast.
Here we are again. Excuse me.
We're a team. We're a unit. See?
G unit.
I'm owned because he got me a diamond.
Oh my God. So
kidding.
lame. So lame.
Whatever. Okay, today's episode, we're talking about our trip to Hawaii. And a lot of you are curious how we did it, how we got there, and how it was.
Are they?
I've been getting a lot of questions about it. You haven't?
Sure.
Well, guess we know who's the star in the relationship.
I see myself more as a audio engineer / producer behind the scenes who happens to get camera time.
Oh, you are my partner.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Well, so yes, Hawaii's open. You do not have to quarantine if you follow a bunch of steps, which we did. And it was a little nerve-wracking since we were there like the second week they were open. So we weren't entirely sure. There wasn't too much information from people. So the first thing was we had to get tested. And it's a
72 hour.
72 hour.
Which, just for general knowledge, just because you get just because it says no symptoms doesn't mean you don't have COVID.
Yes. Which is why for the 2 weeks before we left for Hawaii, while we were in LA, I made us quarantine on our own.
Yes.
No one's forcing you, but as out of respect for the people that we're going to be interacting with and for, the islanders, the locals who live there, I wanted to make sure we were fine. And plus, how awful would it be? Like, this is really spoiled saying this, but how awful would it be? We bought all these tickets, we planned this trip, and then, we decide, we're going to go to the grocery store and we're going to hang out with our friends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then we test positive before we go to Hawaii. We have to cancel our whole trip.
Yeah. Well, and for a Hawaiian's perspective, I don't know if I have all these facts correct, but I heard something like Maui itself only has one hospital.
Yeah,
I could be wrong
very limited resources there.
In which case, if things got backed up, they'd have to go to other islands, which then they'd have to do quarantines to come back to the islands. It just becomes a way longer process, and they have way less capacity to handle it. So it really overflows them. The worst case scenario they've been worrying for the country can happen a lot quicker there should things go wrong, which is the main concern for islanders in Hawaii. And
plus, what we found out was they have the highest percentage of unemployment right now.
Oh, yes. So
the whole country, in all of America.
When we got there, I was trying to rent a surfboard, and we must have called 4 different spots, and we went to 4 different spots, and they were all just kind of closing their business, selling the rest of the stock that they had, or just weren't open like they used to be.
All their employees left to go live back home with their parents on the mainland because they can't, they can't teach their surf lessons. They can't do the board rentals. They have no income, so they had to all leave Hawaii.
And so the one spot we went to, the woman who was from, I forgot where she was from, somewhere in the States, she was thanking us for coming and, helping her business. And she was saying, 'cause she owned the business, I was assuming, because she said usually she has other workers working in the store for her. She never usually has to come in, and now she's working all the hours. And she was just very grateful and wanted to express, no matter what anyone says about should you go, should you not go, she said she has no friends in any part of the island that are currently working. They're all unemployed. Yep. So she's very grateful for people to come and spend money and help the economy there get back up.
Yeah, the majority of it is tourism. So I tipped everyone over 20%. I was trying to give as much money, spend money, we're there, so we might as well really be there and try to help in the way that we can. But obviously it's very mixed emotions for the people who live there because tourists are fucking annoying. I even get annoyed of tourists when I'm there, these buses and buses of people just leaving trash everywhere, super disrespectful, just taking over the place, so if you do go, just be respectful, don't be an asshole, and try, wear your fucking mask. I know people don't, whatever their opinions on it, but just do it. It's just out of respect for everyone else. You're in their home. Don't fuck around and make their hospitals filled with sick people. So I don't know. At the end of the day, yes, us traveling to Hawaii was irresponsible. I'm going to own that 100%. And it wasn't the best choice. And I wouldn't suggest it to everyone to go if you have health conditions or, you know, I have guilt about us going.
I
What?
I'm trying to think of how to respond to that. I agree, but at the end of the day, we chose to go there,
Yes,
and it's not
own
on
it.
anyone else to like show hate for us doing it. It was our choice. We took the risk. We
I
took the
do.
measures to be as safe as possible, and
Yes.
it turned out good.
I mean, that's the thing. I had the best time ever, and it's exactly what I needed. I've been feeling like so worn out from working from home, from work, just everything, and just the wedding. And so it sounds selfish to be like, yeah, I just needed to get away and go to Hawaii and like infect all these people. But I said, okay, I'm going. I'm going to do the best I can to not be an asshole and to not get anyone else sick. And that's what it is. So everyone can come at me. I don't care.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm not gonna.
if you do want to come at us, as far as I know, every single person we encountered with that was from Hawaii was very happy to have us there. None of them were like, wow, you guys actually flew out here and took the chance and now might be risking our lives. Screw you. They were all like beyond and above grateful that people were actually coming back to visit.
Yes, I will. Yes. But I also don't want to put it out there like, yeah, everyone go to Hawaii. It's fucking awesome. Like, just go and like be free. At the end of the day, in my opinion, it's irresponsible. We're traveling and going on a luxurious vacation during a pandemic. It just seems dumb, but I did it and I'm going to own it. And there we go.
It is what it is.
So if you want to be stupid like us and go, let me help you with how to get in, because a lot of people were fucking that up too. And they couldn't even leave their hotel rooms because they couldn't follow simple instructions.
Yes.
It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. So
The biggest thing is like making sure the Hawaii itself, or I guess the islands can come up with their own rule, are allowed to come up with their own rules. Maui, at least, had pre-approved centers where you had to get these rapid tests from. You couldn't just go to your nearest center and get it done. It had to be from an approved list. So the biggest thing is making sure you go on one of those lists, because if you don't, even if you have a test that shows negative, they will still quarantine you.
yeah, so you can't just go to your regular primary doctor unless it's one that's on the list. So you need to confirm that. And it needs to be an NAAT test in a CLIA certified laboratory. And then also, so the ones that were listed are Kaiser is listed as one, CVS, Walgreens. We went to American Family Urgent Care, which was great. They have a bunch all over the country. And just to clarify, we got tested in LA. And what were the other ones? There were a bunch. You find the list, you go and you research in your area to see if they have the test there, and then you tell them it's for travel because they have to give you the documentation, the hard copy. And once you get tested, you have to make sure it's before 72 hours before you arrive. So it's really important. So if you go like just a couple hours before that time period, you're fucked. You're gonna have to stay in your hotel room. Also, what we did was we made sure to get the rapid test that was NAAT CLIA certified. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, but it was. And I had to spend the whole week calling places and making sure, seeing if they had a rapid test, because rapid test meaning we literally were in the parking lot. We swabbed ourselves and
Have you do the shallow test yourself?
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the deep one. It wasn't the deep one.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all, because I hate that shit. I would not have liked a deep one.
Yeah. So we had to do it ourselves in the parking lot. We were in and out within 30 minutes. We actually went before work. We drove to Orange County, got to our appointment in Orange County at 8 a.m. because that was the only place that had the rapid one, and we wanted the results immediately. We went the day before we left for our trip, and it was perfect because there are people who they showed up and their test results took 2 to 3 days. So they had to stay in their hotel room. They couldn't even get a rental car, and they have to go back in line when you get to Hawaii and go through the verification all over again. Just because you get a positive or a negative test doesn't mean you can just say, okay, I'm negative, I can leave now. No, you have to go back to the airport and get recertified so that they change your account to show that you're negative and you can leave your hotel room. So, okay, so I'm skipping ahead. So after we got tested, we uploaded to the Safe Travels program. Then from there, you take the hard copy with you, and then 24 hours before your trip, you have to fill out a questionnaire about your health. And it's important to note we each had to do our own. We couldn't be like a family grouping account. No, each individual, unless you're a child under 18, you can go with your parent, but you have to make your own account. So you fill out that, and then you get a QR code. And what's kind of scary is that you get the QR code and they keep telling you it has to say quarantine no quarantine necessary, or quarantine bypassed. But that doesn't happen until you physically get to Hawaii and show them the test in the airport and they check you off. So that was kind of alarming to me because we got our QR code, but it said, it didn't say no. It just said it was empty. It said NA. And I was like, why does it not say no to quarantine? We don't want to be quarantined for 2 weeks while we're in Hawaii. But what I found out is you get there and then they switch it to no once they see your hard copy of your test. So then with the QR code, we didn't have to wait in line too long.
It's pretty quick. Yeah, the airport's not crowded. It's not like being in an LAX or Newark or JFK or anything like that. Because still, they had just opened, so there's not many people going in. As we were leaving, it seemed like a flight had just gotten in and it was a little busier. But even then, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
You went through it pretty quick.
So the other thing is, if you have a layover in Hawaii, so my parents, they flew to Oahu. They had to do it there, and then when they got to Maui, they had to do it again. So you have to do it for each flight. You have to enter in the flight from LA to Oahu, and you have to fill out the flight from Oahu to Maui. You have to do it twice.
So try get a direct flight if you can.
But if not, just know you have to do it twice, because there's so many people going, hey, what do you mean? I already did it. Why did I have to do this flight? And they have to go through all the paperwork again and fill everything out online. And it's just kind of hectic. So that's pretty much it. And they do say that they can come at you and ask for your QR code at any time of your stay while you're in Hawaii. And if you do get quarantined, they're going to check on you every fucking day and make sure you're in there, because like Joe said, they don't want to have their hospitals inundated with a bunch of tourists who are sick and, spreading COVID on the island where there's limited resources. So that's the process.
There you go. Short and sweet.
Yeah. It's really not that bad. It was a little nerve-wracking when you get there, but
right.
And trying to find a place.
You want everything to go right. You don't want to feel like you don't want to have gotten there just to realize you forgot something or did something wrong.
Yeah. There were a bunch of TikToks of like people who showed up and they went to the regular doctor instead of a Hawaii approved doctor. And then they literally just took video from in their hotel room the whole time. And that would be awful and such a waste of money. And especially if you're negative, it's just kind of a waste of your time, and you won't go, pump up the tourism in Hawaii because you're stuck in your room and you can't buy anything. So, yeah. Like, you literally can't even rent a car.
Yeah. You're just stuck.
But I had the best time on our trip.
Oh, it was so much fun.
And we just stayed away from everyone and, cooked in our hotel, in our apartment.
The kitchens were closed at the hotel. Sometimes you can get hotels where... You got the gym. If you get one of those little apartments, there's kitchens. Ours didn't have that. It had like a fridge and microwave, but usually downstairs there's a kitchen that was closed, but the grills were open, so a lot of families were using the grills.
We just grilled every night, which was fine.
The one nice thing, Hawaii still being within the States, is you got Costco there, so we just did a big Costco run. So most of the meals we just did making it in-house, so, more things to just keep it contained. And then we only went out to dinner, I think, once the whole week.
Yeah, and of course, when we're going around, we'll try a little food here and there. We make our own little food tours, but... I mean, it is expensive to go to Hawaii. The food, it has to be shipped there. So everything's much more expensive. So, we are not fucking money bags. So we still cook our own food and just go out to dinner once or twice.
We like to ball on a budget and then splurge here and there on the stuff that we really want to go all out on.
Yeah. I'm fine eating whatever. I mean, we also, this sounds cocky too, but we've been to Hawaii a bunch of times. We don't need to eat out every time and try the food. We can make the food ourselves.
We're not big tourists in the sense of
I don't do
my
tours.
Mom likes to see the history of places and let's go to this jungle or this mountain and volcano in here. I just need to see it. I like to do a hike maybe to go see it and be done. Otherwise, I want to be by the beach or just hiking. Beach, I like doing activities.
That's all we do. Beach and hiking. We did, we would have liked to do a coffee tour, but a lot of the things were closed. A few of the restaurants were closed too. But other than that, like, I'm in Hawaii for Hawaii beach, hiking to a waterfall, hiking a volcano. That's all I need to do every day. Beach, hike, Hawaii, snorkel, jump off a cliff, into the ocean, not to kill yourself. But those are the things that you do. That's it.
And I just wanted to surf, so that place, you could rent it $100, surf for the week. And
I just like being in that lifestyle, like relaxed and just having fun and no problems. Or my dad says, we're on Hawaii time.
That's right. So, yeah, you just got to let yourself settle in, enjoy it. You're there.
Yeah. And there were still tours and stuff open. And for me, if I need the history of something, I can just Google it. That's the beauty of it. If I want to be like, oh, where did this happen? Why did this happen? What's the history behind the shaka? You can Google it and give yourself your own tour.
Or watch a documentary on Hawaii.
Yeah. But I do think it's important to try and learn the culture. We've gone so many times.
Sure. Especially with Hawaii.
If you've never been, you need to
I've seen with a lot of the TikToks of Hawaiians, the big thing they hate is just, and this is any place with a long history of culture, is not all Americans, but Americans tend to do this thing. I don't know if it's because our country is young, relatively speaking, but these other places have a culture. And if you, like, we come from an Asian culture, like when you come from a culture, you really respect that culture, whether it's your elders, the traditions, whatever it is, you pass that on generation to generation. And I think, again, this isn't all Americans, but when a lot of Americans come from different areas that don't have the culture, just come from America where it hasn't just been around long enough, like Europe, where it's been thousands of years and you can have all this culture, or, Polynesian culture, which has been around forever, they want that to be appreciated. So if you're just some tourist coming in and stomping around and leaving
acting
trash,
like a Karen, being like, why aren't you acting like it is at home?
And you've got to match the culture
blah,
too.
blah, blah.
If Hawaii is about being laid back, taking your time, you have to be able to go with that. Like one of the big things people were telling us between the weather, the waiter called it the 10-minute rule. In Hawaii, you give anything 10 minutes because in 10 minutes the weather can change, the decisions can change. Mm-hmm. Things just go at a slower pace there. So you can't all of a sudden, if you have like a New York mentality or someone who's like, hey, why isn't this getting done? You got to go with the culture. That's part of the culture. So you just have to embrace it and be respectful.
Yeah. So anyways, this was a very informative podcast. And let us know if you have any questions about getting in. And don't be dumb and don't be an asshole. And
respect the culture.
Wear your fucking mask. I don't know. Be nice.
Just
be a nice
sense
human.
Things. I mean, we shouldn't even have to say this. You know what common sense things are.
Yeah.
That's
no sex talk, nothing crazy in this one.
No, pure informational. Maybe info. Next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Aloha. Just kidding.
Yeah. Also, don't be one of those people that when they come back from the culture, they're so cultured that
Aloha,
they speak the language and
mahalo.
they all of a sudden dress differently. Yeah, don't be that.